Yeah, Solid Hill TDS, what's up? Yeah, come on. I.O.W. Sports Network, late night edition. Let's go. Come on.
We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Modelo Le Cigar. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card mark. We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Modelo Le Cigar. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card mark. Hey. L Boogie with the hot flame, ashtray full of top names, little tree for your membrane. This the 9-hour time frame. I just snatched up a 6-pack, got my hands on a lid pack, whipping up a little batch of snacks. Yeah, man, I think I'm all set. Late night, can't sleep. Go ahead and just tap in. Better grab you a cold one, and we about to get some laps in. Wild card on the microphone, he'll hit you with a couple flurries. Y'all need to just strap in for some entertainment sports commentary. We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Modelo Le Cigar. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card mark. We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what it is. You know what it is. We are here another day, another Taco Tuesday, and it's going to get turned up because my man Randy Reber is back in the building. How you doing, bro? How you doing, man?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling braggadocious. I'm feeling a little cocky, feeling a little arrogant today.
Oh Lord. Randy's already starting. Before we get started, I forgot to do it last week, and how dare I forget to do it last week? My brother passed the bar. All right, my brother passed the bar. All right, yeah, that's a feat that not everybody can do. All right, so it may seem like an old celebratory achievement for you, Randy, but it'll never get old for me that my boy passed the bar. All right, so
Appreciate you, brother.
now that that's out the way, you see the headlines. We're just going to have some real candid and honest conversations about the finals. All right, we'll probably be very NBA heavy tonight. There'll probably be some other topics that might pop up within the next 58 minutes. If so, we'll discuss it. But yes, we will be probably predominantly NBA heavy tonight because we got to have some conversations. And look, you see today's title. It says, it has been a great NBA finals, but it is over. All right. I wrote it that way is because we're going to dissect this from multiple angles on both sides of the basketball, Pacers and Thunders, on why this series is over or why it isn't. But my feelings are more geared toward it is over. OVA. All right. Not EROVA. Over. Over. I know they get game 6 tomorrow. Or is it
Thursday?
Thursday. Bless you. Thursday, back in Indiana. All right. So, like you said, you're feeling real braggadocious. So go ahead, talk your shit, man. Because and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of this conversation on why this thing is over, man.
All right, so I think that, and I've talked about this before in sports, one of the biggest things that is a huge driver in sports talk and in, commentary in general is recency bias.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people clearly had huge shifts in positions based off the most recent thing they saw. And so every time, the whole thing with Halliburton, once he got the last shot, it's like, okay, he's a clutch superstar, right? Like he's the next coming of Kobe Bryant, right? Like he's the guy who is unstoppable in the fourth. And then we saw him in game 5. So that narrative's over now because he didn't show up. And it's not that he just didn't show up, right? Like players have bad games, like it is what it is, right? He didn't show up. in a pivotal game that basically was going to decide the series. He didn't show up at all. And if you look at all of his games, it's very inconsistent. Like the couple of clutch shots that people remember do not paint the broader picture of his playoff performance. So I think that I agree that the series is over. Yes, they're going back to Indiana, but Halliburton seems to be hurt. He might miss the next game potentially too. So I think, I think it's very clearly at this point over. I said last week, even while Indiana was 2 up, I still thought OKC was going to win the series. They were clearly the better team, in my opinion. The talent gap was fairly significant. In the games that, outside of game 3, it was pretty obvious who the better team was. Game 3 was really the only game where Indiana really played better than OKC. Game 1, they did not. Game 2, they got destroyed. And game 4, Indiana was in the lead for a lot of it, but they choked. So, and then game 5, they got destroyed again. So that's really, in any game, the reason why they have so many games is specifically because any team can win a game, but it's harder for there to be flukes when there's 7. And if you look at the whole body of the series, it's clear OKC is the better team.
Yeah.
It shows. The way they win is dominant. When Indiana wins, it's either by flukes or it's close. And that was similar to what I said about the OKC Nuggets series, right? Like, the Nuggets are a better team overall than Indiana is, and they have the best player in the NBA, and Indiana doesn't, right? But the gap even there was significant enough where, yes, they went to 7 games, but all of the Nuggets wins were close. So one of them literally in overtime, and all OKC's wins were dominant. And that tells you a lot. That tells you how to project what future games with them will look like, because what that tells you is like, okay, there is more of a talent gap there than the scoreboard actually shows here.
Yes. And I know I gave you some hell about it last week about, I don't care how you win, but in the grand scheme, I obviously I think it does matter how you win, because to your point, it comes to how future performances and how the grand scheme of how you operate in the way that you win and how you did it, it speaks to your whole overall body of work. And for instance, like you said, Indiana, by all accounts, got past Boston Celtics, but there's at least 3 or 4 games where we're looking like Boston had no business losing that game. All right, go to the Knicks series. There's first 2 games, game 1 and 2.
Wait, you said Cavs. The Knicks beat Boston. The Indiana beat the Cavs.
Oh yeah. Either way.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm mixing it all up, but it's been a long playoffs. But you get what I'm saying. Pacers did come back on the Cavs in some of those games. And with some of those games, you're like, damn, man, the Cavs were a more talented team, but they kind of somehow didn't close the door, and then got past the Cavs. There were some games against the Knicks at the Pacers. I'm like, they had no business winning those first 2 games, game 1 and 2. And I'm looking at the Knicks like, damn, bro, y'all were up. Y'all were up. So no, I got you, big dog. Hey, that's me. I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna get it right. I got you. And then you look at even game 1 of the finals. It was literally OKC was dominating. They got too comfortable. And next thing you know, they look at the scoreboard, OKC is behind, and they end up losing that game. But to me, the series is more indicative in games 2 and 5, if that makes sense.
Yes.
2 and 5 to me mirrored each other.
Yes.
It was just literally pure dominance of OKC, Indiana coming from behind. The only difference between game 2 and 5 is that Indiana actually made it close and brought that closed that gap where game 2 they couldn't close it.
Yes.
But here's the similarities where I see in 2 and 5 when it came down and really mattered. OKC's defense was like, nah, we ain't having none of that shit. And the next thing you know, turnovers, and then that little two-point gap spreads to 15 in a matter of a blink of an eye. So I'm looking at games 2 and 5, and I'm like, that looks like more like what I was thinking what was going to happen coming into the series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And there's a reason why people thought that. There's a reason why, like, I know that people love the underdog narrative, but there's a reason why nobody gave Indiana a chance. It is because they're the worst team. And really, if OKC just hadn't taken their foot off the gas in game 1, the series would have ended yesterday. So that's the point, that that's why they have the series like this. There's so many ways in which a team wins, but in a 7-game series, almost always the better team will win, because you can only fluke so much.
Yeah, I feel you. So let's start breaking this down on for me, and I'm pretty sure for you why you think this series is over. And I want to start on OKC side, and the reason why I want to start with OKC side is because they're up 3-2, and they got they're in the driver's seat.
Yep.
Reason number one I think this is over is because the way that Indiana has been doing Cleveland, New York, and anybody else along the way to making it to the finals is making sure you play all 48 minutes. And the moment that game 4 was in their hands and they gave it away, I personally felt that was the series that kind of slipped out their hands too. Because now the gig is up. And you can't just, hey, oh yeah, it's all cute when, we're coming from behind and getting y'all, but what y'all showed me is y'all can't hold a lead.
Yep. I think so too. And I think especially considering that was their chance to get both home games. Like,
up 3-1.
Yeah, they would have been up 3-1, and they would have solidified both of their home games. And that was the thing. The reason why it was such a big deal that OKC lost game 1 was that they were going to be, if they won the next game, then they were going to be 1-1 going into Indiana for 2 games. Mm-hmm. Indiana had the advantage there, and they blew it.
Yeah. For me, all the advantage, especially home court advantage, is gone. And look, they can win this game 6. That's fine. You got to go back to OKC.
Yep. And that's the thing. Also, now they have to try to do it without Halliburton.
And we'll just
with a really injured Halliburton trying to come back, which we're probably going to see what he played like in game 5 again, if that's the case.
We'll tap into the. I'll let you lead off the Indiana bit in a second, but I want just right here on the OKC side.
Yep.
Obviously, taking game 4 for me was big for them. I thought that was huge in taking that home court advantage away. Now you take out the mystique of playing in Indiana, you take out all that, and numbers wise, you take the advantage in this series. So then when you replicate 5 like you did 2, that's when I'm like, all right, they're in the driver's seat. This is them. And not just because they got one game away. I just think they got control of the series now. Even if they lose game 6.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean, like control of the series. When they go back to OKC, I see no way in hell of Indiana going into OKC in a game 7 situation and beating them.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
I don't see it either. And also, what a lot of the stuff that we were talking about last week with the psychology of it, being down for OKC was very important for Indiana, because the psychological advantage they also got as a result of that, right? Like, when you're a team that expects to win, OKC went into this expecting to win, and now all of a sudden you're behind, and you didn't prepare to be playing from behind. Now the other team is in the driver's seat. Indiana had that, and they lost it,
and it's gone.
Yeah, now it's gone, and now Indiana's in the position that they, if they really were being objective, had to expect that they were going to be in, which is to be from behind. And now now whatever confidence that they were going into the series with through the first 3 games, it's shot now.
Yeah. It's definitely, in my opinion, psychologically, it should be shot. But here's another thing with the Thunder and why this series is over. For me, Jalen Williams has been very consistent through this series, this final.
Yes.
The fact that the performance that he did last night, and you didn't still get, look at the numbers. You can say what you want. You still didn't get a great shooting night from SGA. All right. He still got a good amount of free throws attempts. Got to the line, I think, like 14, 13 times, made about a majority of them. Only missed a couple. He still ended up with 30 plus points, but you get half of it from the free throw line. He took 21 shots. All right. Only made 9 of them. All right.
Yeah.
You still did not get a great shooting efficient night from SGA. But the fact that your number 2 guy just dropped 40 and it didn't even matter that your best player, your MVP, wasn't efficient. It didn't matter.
That's the thing. Yeah. They're in a position where they don't really have to rely on Shea to play great. They're not being carried by Shea. The entire unit is really good. And I mean, what you were talking about with the turnovers in game 5, I mean, I was pretty confident like that was not a fluke. How many turnovers they had in game 1, the fact that they then had a lot of turnovers. They had a lot of turnovers in game 2 as well. It's not a fluke. Like, they just have a bunch of people who are really good at pickpocketing. And that's gonna happen.
Not only that, and I think that's kind of one of the things that needs to get talked about. I know we talk about how good OKC's defense has always been all season, but in this particular game, especially in game 5, when they were like, yeah, we y'all got us game 1. We seen this before. Nah, we gonna shut the fucking door on y'all boys. And for you to say, to mentally hit that switch and literally not let the same thing happen again, that, to me, that speaks volumes as a team for OKC to say, nah, y'all not getting us again, motherfuckers. No.
Yeah, they're actively learning in real time. Like the switch from game 1 to game 2 was a really good example. Like I had said last week, that the game 2, all they had to do was just not make the exact same mistake they made in game 1, which was taking their foot off the gas at the end. And they've learned from that. Game 5 was another example of that, where Indiana was starting to close the gap, and then OKC was like, "No, we learned from game 1," and they applied those lessons, and they didn't let them close the gap. That's exactly what they were right to do. And if you don't have those kind of unexpected heroics, I don't really know what Indiana has against them, right? The fast break points haven't been there like they've been in the past because OKC is able to stop it. Yeah. Indiana is still for the most part shooting very well, but if you're being defended as well as they are, and the other team is also shooting well, that's not enough on its own. So, I don't really know what Indiana actually has as a means of taking over the series again. All their strengths have been negated at this point.
Yeah. And here's another thing that's really crazy about OKC right now. I think it was either game 3 or 4, and right before it, I was like, man, I hope Chet Holmgren comes out and balls. And he came out fire in the first quarter and then kind of faded. If y'all really look at Chet Holmgren this series, he's been kind of up and down, nothing really consistent, or at least trending up on a consistent upward tick, not on a consistent basis at least. So when you look at even Chet's not even, I don't think he's even fully tapped into what he can actually add to the Thunder in this series. If that makes sense. I just think that if you look at his numbers, look at his stats throughout the whole finals, I'm kind of looking like Chet's there, but he's not as involved as he could possibly be. I don't know if that's fair to say.
No, I agree. Chet has been inconsistent, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, Chet has been inconsistent. Shea has had high volume, but hasn't been very efficient.
Mm-hmm.
The star of the team so far, and who I think is probably going to end up winning Finals MVP, is J-Dub.
Yeah.
Lou Dort has also been good. Caruso has been very good off of the bench. A lot of those forced turnovers came from him. Hartenstein has been good. Like and that's one of their key strengths. They don't need one guy to be phenomenal every time. If one guy is having a bad night, there's somebody else to take that spot. They have a lot of players with arguably redundant skill sets, but that's in their case, it's not a bad thing because they have players to fill the roles of other players if that player isn't doing it. Most of the guys on the team can shoot from three.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the guys on the team can rebound. Most of the guys on the team can steal. They have somebody to pick up the load if necessary in most regards on the team. They have guys who can pass and play make if Shea's not doing it. They have at least two people on the court at all times who can fulfill a strength, who can fulfill a need if one of them isn't having that night. And when you have a loaded roster like that, it's really hard to stop it.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because I'm looking at each game in this series, whether it's SGA having an inefficient night, he's still going to get his numbers. All right. That's fair. But if it's either been Jalen Williams that's been picking it up, you get some contributions from Chet on some of those nights. Cason Wallace has been dropping, has been helping on both ends of the court, whether it's offense or defense. He's made, I think last night, made like 3 or 4 threes off the bench and played hellified defense. Wiggins been putting in solid minutes. So it's like you look at literally just up and down from rather starters all the way to almost damn near the 5th guy on the bench. On the stat sheet, you're contributing so much, whether it's, even some of the unsung stuff, like you said, Caruso was causing turnovers. Even if SGA isn't even killing it offensively, the man had 4 blocks last night.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if your MVP player isn't being efficient, he's still affecting the game in some type of aspect that is literally about to help towards the W. And that's hard to beat.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's the thing, right? Like I'm sorry, who's the one that had 4 blocks? What name did you just say?
SGA.
SGA had 4 blocks. He's not even their top defender.
Yeah. And
that's the like if you can get 4 blocks out of a guy that's not even your best defender, like what are you supposed to do? Like you get multiple steals from a secondary defensive option. You get multiple blocks from a secondary option, right? Like great rim protection from someone off the bench. Like that's just a lot of substance. Because I know Bobby said that it's just like, oh, you're just throwing bodies out there. Not a lot of substance. That's a lot of substance coming in and off the court.
Right, and yeah, definitely for sure.
Yeah, just shout out to Bobby. Can't wait to see him when he comes back.
I just tapped in with him. He's on another pod right now with some mutual friends that we got. So I was like, that's why I noticed he didn't answer my message. So I was like, yeah, he busy right now.
all good. We'll meet each other again, I'm sure.
Oh, no doubt. But it does speak to I just think right now, OKC is at a point where they said, all right, enough fun and games. We love the story. We literally was a couple of wins from being a 70-win team. Yeah, we really are that damn good. And reflection now. Because now there's not one scenario that we haven't seen. And I don't think we're going to get it. The only scenario that we haven't seen in this finals on the Thunder side is them literally getting blown out, and I don't see that happening at all. Right. So, yeah, at this point, they've seen the whole bag from Indiana. I think that you've seen all that you can see from Indiana. So as we flip this over to the other side of this scenario and why this series is over, the Indiana side, and I'm gonna let you lead the way on why this shit is over, dog.
All right, well, it's over for them because Halliburton played like a bum in Game 5, and not only did he play like a bum, but you're not even probably going to get him back, and certainly not at 100%. And I mean that is the biggest thing, right? Like they can't match them on defense, but even if they're marginally better as an offensive team, the gap's not close enough to make the difference. Siakam has still been playing well. Neesmith has still been playing well. Like it's not that everybody on the team has been playing badly. Yeah. They've just been outmatched significantly. Mathurin was that game four when he just had a meltdown, right? Like the guy who had been like their best bench player throughout the playoffs just fell apart at the end of game 4. And if that's gonna happen to you, like, well, you don't have enough to be able to sacrifice one guy playing like shit. Like that's just what it is, right? Like you don't.
Everybody's gonna be on their P's and Q's, bro.
Yeah, exactly. If everybody isn't playing at their absolute top peak, you don't have a chance in this series. And they've taken turns not playing well. And what really realistically, a big part of the reason why the team overall was getting destroyed is because Halliburton was playing bad, because Halliburton is the face of the team. I don't know if he's necessarily their consistent best player. I mean, like, it depends on what kind of criteria you're looking for, right? But as the point guard facilitator, he is their engine. And he, especially considering like there's a reason why they so often give him the last shot, right? Like he is their engine, even if he's not necessarily the most talented player.
Yeah.
If he's off,
good luck.
Good luck with everybody else. Like you have a lot of people who rely on play finishing from his playmaking, and if he's off, that's going to limit you, right? Like it's a good thing that they do have a bunch of guys who can facilitate their own offense, but they don't. But they're a team that's so much is orchestrated around being facilitated to by Halliburton, because their top player is a traditional point guard. So when you don't have that, now everyone has to step up the facilitation of their own offense.
Yeah.
Hey, Los, what's going on? Just happy to gloat. That's all we doing right here, right now. We having our victory lap. Anybody who said that Tyrese is the better point guard, they could just watch game 5 for me.
Oh, no, they tripping, bro.
Yeah, they tripping, bro. Jalen Brunson would never have 4 points all off of free throws. Would never.
Boy,
playoff game. Yeah, clutch player of the year.
That was a weird performance. And look, I get it, the injury, cool, but here's my thing. Shams has said and reported like, yo, he originally got the injury in game 2 and he just been playing through it and just kind of re-aggravated tonight in game 5. I'm like, I ain't trying to hear that shit.
Yeah, excuses. It's bullshit. Like there were no reports that he was injured from that point, and he didn't look like he was, and he played well in game 3, right? Like, so I don't want to hear it.
I'm not here's why I'm not trying to hear it, because if he was so hurt in game 2, his minutes didn't decrease in game 3. They didn't decrease in game 4. He still played almost 35 minutes in game 5. He didn't look like a person that was so incapable to play basketball. And look, we all know, especially, hey, you don't play with the calf if you're a basketball player. I get that. If it's a strain, that's gonna, you don't want to play with it. We seen as KD what happens when a calf strain turns into something more. And then it can lead to Achilles, and we know how that works. All right.
Yep.
I get that. So if that's the case, you better come up with a plan, Rick Carlisle. Here's the thing. I was praising Rick Carlisle on his coaching genius. Well, damn it, you better come up with the best bag that you got. I don't know if you got it, but look, the injury, just looking at the way he was playing last night, it took away all of his aggressiveness. But I'm not going to let that be my main point, because look at some of the other games in this series. I'm looking like, where is his aggressiveness?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what was he doing leading up to these finals? You're like, hey, the conversation is, the guy a superstar or not? You can't have this conversation no more when you're performing like that. I'm sorry.
Agreed. 100%. Especially considering he has been, like I said, very inconsistent, especially from a scoring standpoint, right? Like, and that's the thing. Like, his instinct is to be a pass first guy. And I was just talking to my man Cisco about this, and he made a really good point. Tyrese Halliburton has been trying to essentially facilitate his own superstardom. He's been trying to. I haven't seen, and he made the same point. I agree with it. I haven't seen a player actively campaign for their own position as a superstar the way that Halliburton has. Halliburton has done so many things throughout this playoffs with the clear intent to try to force himself into a superstar conversation. But, and I mean, I'm sure that's probably a big part of why he keeps getting the last shot, but he just has not played like that. He has been very inconsistent, especially from a scoring standpoint. He's not a naturally aggressive scorer. That's why he's a traditional point guard. There are players on the team that score more than him on a pretty regular basis. His average, point totals? Like a lot of these games, like 17, 18, 19, and those are his good scoring games.
Mm-hmm.
So, like he's not a superstar. Like, it's okay. Like, he's just not a superstar. And nobody was ever going. There was a mass hypnosis for a while where people did believe it because of a lucky bounce. But we're done with that now. Like, we're done with that.
Hey, Lowe's, his PR team is top motherfucking tier, baby.
Yep.
Top fucking tier. They got that man with a connection with WWE, got t-shirts and shit. Mm-hmm. He's been on now he's in fucking WWE 2K25. He got a character in that. His PR team is absolutely elite. The dude is literally on a campaign like a superstar. The only problem is that what we've gotten in the playoffs is literally a superstar in clutch moments. He has not been a superstar at quarters 1, 2, and 3. You've gotten a superstar in clutch moments from him. And I'm just going to call it how I seen it. That's just me. And nobody has to agree with me with what I've seen from Halliburton. And I fell victim to it. I'm like, oh, this guy has come up in clutch moments and this and that. Did it in this series, did it in that series. But if we're talking about specifically just this finals, take out game 1, you're looking at a person that literally has taken out all aggressiveness and going to find this shot. All right. Won't do it. And look, if he wants to facilitate, fine. That's totally fine. But that takes away a scoring option just by proxy, just by keeping him a facilitator, because he can kill you on the offensive side. We've seen him do it time and time again, especially in these clutch moments. But I need him to be a superstar, not just when the game is on the line. I need him to be a superstar 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters all the way through. There's not a such thing as conditional superstardom. I've never heard of it.
And remember, Mar, I pointed this out after game 1, when he made the game-winning shot. I was like, okay, look at the rest of the game. He had 12 points. He was 5 for 12 up into that point, 2 for 7 from 3. And then he made that last shot. That's the only thing people remembered. But same thing, again, if we're looking at the body of work, what did this show his ability to do? It showed his ability to make the last shot, which is not an unimportant skill, right? Like, it is an important skill to be able to make the last shot with all that pressure and make it. And he did do a good job of that. Yeah. This one was not a lucky bounce in this series. It was a real shot and a real good shot. But if you have to put your team in the position where they don't need you to do that.
Hey, Los, I feel you, Los. Here's my thing, and not to cut you off, Randy. So my apologies.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The thing is, Los, my thing is with Halliburton. When I need him to be aggressive, that's when he's not. And if you're a coach, if you're Rick Carlisle, there's got to be moments that you say, "Hey, bro, I need you to be aggressive." He's supposed to be the guy that you look to that is supposed to be to go get the shot for the Pacers. I mean, when you think of Indiana Pacers, I love Pascal Siakam. I don't think of him first. I don't, and that's not a knock to him. Is we've seen Tyrese Halliburton be outward, like you said, the PR team is elite. So when you put yourself out there and I'm looking at you and you got that Pacers across your chest, I'm looking at you to be that guy.
Yeah.
And right now, and this is not even barring injury. I'm just saying, hey man, right now for me, the hotter hand, if I need a go-getter or a bucket from the Pacers on the lineup, I would go choose Siakam right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's also the point that I'm making is like, yeah, it's cool to make the last shot, but you wouldn't need to do that all the time if you were scoring better throughout the game. You would be in a better if Tyrese Halliburton was a more aggressive and better high volume scorer, they wouldn't need the last shot as often as they do. It's because
you'd be playing from the front.
Yes, it's because the total points up until that point aren't as high as you could have made them. Like that's why you're coming from behind so much. Like your top guy is a low volume scorer. He's a facilitator. And if your top guy is in that position, like, yeah, there's limitations to that. He wants to be the top guy as a scorer because that's really how you become a superstar, but that's not him.
Yeah. But I'm just looking at there's times in this finals where I'm just like, damn, Halliburton got the, hey man, pull up for that shot right there. Like take that shot. Look, I get it. You want to get your teammates involved as a point guard, as you should. But there's times where I'm looking at this game and I'm looking in the course of the game where I'm like, that'd have been a great moment for you to take over. That'd be a great moment for you to, close out the first half on a run, and you close the half out on a good run. Like that'd have been a good moment right there for you, Hallie.
Yeah, it adds one more threat that the defense has to cover as a scorer. Like it's really important for your best player to be able to score at a high volume. And there have been, there's a very an ongoing debate in the basketball world. Like, are traditional point guards overrated? Can your best player be a traditional point guard? And I don't know if I really have a strong opinion on that either way, but I do think that you have to at least be a scoring threat. And Halliburton is a scoring threat, but he doesn't use it enough.
So here's my answer to that question. I think depends on how you structure your team. So here's my thing. If you got a point guard who's just a true point guard, pure point guard, looking to facilitate, looking to get his teammates in the right position, say a Derek Fisher, right? For example, you can make a career out of that. But the only thing is on the floor, he needs to have go-getters. He got to have shooters.
You're too dependent on the people around you. That's a big problem. Like the people around you have to be good enough to get those points that you're setting them up for. And
so here's my thing.
Yeah,
with Halliburton, he needs to make a decision. Am I going to affect the tone of this game by either A, facilitating it, or am I going to get it by setting the tone because I'm the guy that's setting the tone? And he needs to have that conversation with himself every day before the game starts. Look himself in the mirror and have an obvious conversation. Am I going to set the tone, or I'm going to, facilitate it? What are you going to do?
Like a perfect example, I think, of it working at a low volume is Steve Nash. Perfect example, right? Steve Nash was a traditional point guard in most respects, right? He was a pass first guy. He was always looking to facilitate. He led the league in assists, I think, like 5 times. But he was also a shooting and scoring threat from everywhere on the floor, pretty much. Maybe not at the post, but like from the midi, from the three, he was a great scorer. He just didn't use it all the time. Now, I think that the fact that he didn't use it more is part of why the Suns weren't more successful, that they didn't make a finals, right? Like, I mean, you know, having to deal with the Lakers also had a lot to do with, and the Spurs had a lot to do with it. Whatever. Like, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. There were other reasons why.
I get what you're saying in the context, yeah.
Yeah. But part of it was also like he could have been more of a scoring threat than he was. He was enough of one that you had to guard him, right? Like he wasn't nothing as a scorer.
Yeah, you don't
He's
need
a very good scorer.
Yeah, you don't need
Yeah, exactly. Right. But the fact that he could score, and he could score well, and he could score efficiently, made you at least have to guard him and have to respect him. And that does open up the rest of your players. And that's why that's so important.
So I'm just gonna throw this out here. My man Steve Nash won the MVP twice, scoring 15 and a half and 18 and 8. So he's 18. So let's call it 16 and 19. He's averaging.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you look at what he's doing, obviously he's won 2 MVPs, pretty much being a high facilitator. Really, only scoring 16 and 19 respectively in both MVP years. Halliburton could do the same thing.
Yeah,
he has to literally make that decision. Can I, sacrifice my shot selection probably more than ever, my point stat sheet, but just take high efficient shots to get everybody else involved? He can do that. I just don't see where on this roster where the dogs are at that you're facilitating to. I like Siakam. Wait, are we putting him Siakam in that tier of saying borderline star, superstar? Hell no. Ain't nobody having that conversation about Pascal Siakam.
No, he's a good enough scorer that you can win with him as your top scorer. But is he going to be? It's better. The guy who's going to be your main scorer, in an ideal world, should be among the better scorers in the NBA. And Siakam's a very good scorer, but he's not that good of one. Miles Turner is a good scorer, a good 3-point shooter. You can't rely on him to be your first option as a scorer. Neesmith has had great scoring moments, but same thing, right? Like these are all good scorers, but none of them are great scorers.
Can you guys talk about? Unfortunately, you want GOAT conversation to go talk about Bron and James. This ain't the channel, bro. Unfortunately, that's a dead conversation. I'm about tired of that. Unfortunately, no disrespect to you, Universe Galaxy, but I think people who are still leaning on this damn GOAT debate, you're lazy because you're not trying to actually talk about sports. For almost 15 years. Let's move on.
I do agree. However, I was actually going to say at the end of this, I've been working on my top 50 all-time players list. This series has kind of been making me think about it a little bit more. Like this playoff series as a whole been making me think about it, and I've been working it, and I thought that maybe next week we could have a bit of a discussion about it and talk about like how the modern players in the NBA, how they kind of fit into it at this point, right? The ones that are the active players and where we think they are at this point in their careers. So I love GOAT talks, right? But like it doesn't have to just be Jordan v. LeBron.
Well, in Universe Galaxy, I didn't mean no offense. I'm just saying like once you talk about either Jordan or you talk about Bron, it always ends up in that whole wrapped up in that whole GOAT debate. And my biggest thing is like who you like. Let's be happy we seen greatness. And because the GOAT debate always turns into tearing down one to big up the other, and I'm like, they were both great. Like
they were both great, yeah. And especially on the LeBron end of it, people actively pretend that he was like not even a good player just because they don't personally like him. Like they'll find any excuse to be like, oh, but you know, but 4-6, or like, oh, but the 2011 finals, or like, but right, like it just becomes people who actively don't even really like basketball and just don't like one of these two players.
Yeah. But you know, it's slice it how you want it. It can be you know, a very interesting topic. You know, we'll have future conversations when it comes to basketball, especially you know, when they get to their off season. You got to come up with something to talk about with them.
Yeah, we'll you know, like I said, we'll talk more about what we do next week. But I got the list, and I'm ready to talk about it.
So it's just you know, so interesting trades. I kind of talked about it last night. My man Omar, shout out to my man Omar Ball and Buds Sports Entertainment. Y'all tap in with him, Clubber D, and the crew over there. We got to start reevaluating how some of these players' value is in these trades.
Facts.
No disrespect to Desmond Bain, but you are not worth 4 first-round picks. When you saw that went down, what went through your head, bro? You was like,
I like Desmond Bain, but yeah, I mean, he's not 4 first-round picks is a big deal, right? Like that's how you build a team. And for Desmond Bain, like I like Desmond Bain a lot. I think he's one of the more underrated players in the NBA. I like him a lot, but yeah, for 4 first-round picks is kind of crazy. That is pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was crazy when we gave up like 1 million picks for Mikal Bridges. Like these things, they're not just candy, bro. Like they do matter.
Yeah. So here's obviously, and maybe it's just a trend in the NBA.
No offense to Mikal Bridges. Also, I'm happy to have you. Just that was very expensive.
That was expensive, and but when you look at it, so obviously I made the trade for Mikal Bridges in New York. Minnesota gave up the 4 first-round multiple picks for Rudy Gobert, and a lot of people are going to be like, the names of these people that you're giving these picks for is like, what? But then I thought about it. Obviously, you guys got Mikal Bridges for a certain feature that he adds to your team. All right. Minnesota got Rudy Gobert for a certain feature added to the team. They needed defense, they needed rim protection, rebounding. That's what he brings. And I look at this Desmond Bain trade. I'm like, damn. All right. Orlando is terrible at 3-point shooting. You got one of the better 3-point shooters in the league right there. 4 first-round picks are still pricey for it, though. It's still pricey for it. And maybe it's just me because I'm looking at the name attached to it, and I can't, you know, mentally separate that. Maybe that's the point. But I'm looking at now the trend in the NBA is GMs are going to go after certain players that's going to fix a specific need. And at this point, they don't care the draft compensation that comes with it. That's just what I'm seeing.
Right. And to the other side, because I did say that the picks do matter, and they do. But it is also true that the NBA draft is not like the NFL draft, where outside of the first, maybe like, I don't know, like 10, 15-ish guys, whatever, right? Like once you get to like the lower part of the top 10, or you get to the second round, a lot of these guys aren't even going to see the court. Like it's not the same as the NFL draft where you're picking like the entire first round's full of like what you expect to be key contributors, some superstars. That doesn't mean that you should just like play with it like house money, because you especially if you do end up not being a good team and having a high draft pick, that could be a real big difference. And you're getting, you know, a young player, you're getting the next star, like Flog, right? Like the Mavericks are going to end up getting now, right? Like that does matter. But I think that there is a justification for doing it if you're getting a very good player who does add to the team in a really significant way. Like you said, the offense in Orlando has been very bad. They've been relying a lot on very good defense and basically no offense, especially 3-point shooting. Desmond Bain would fix that immediately.
Instantly. Yeah.
But the problem is then you have one shooter on the team. And how does that work if you change the context that he's in from the Grizzlies, who aren't like an elite shooting team in their own right, but like they have more than just him as an offensive option. Now you're taking him and putting him into Orlando, where every defense is going to be like, okay, guard that guy.
Yeah.
Is he going to be as effective as he was in Memphis? Is it going to be worth it for what you're getting within the context of you bringing him in, right? Like, you can't only have one 3-point shooter on the entire team, because then the defense just knows just go get that one guy.
Yeah, and look, I when I was looking at the trade and Orlando's GM made it, he made it, he's going to have to, do the dog and pony show and sell it like, hey, man, we really believe that Desmond Bain is that missing link for us. Add him to Jalen Suggs, Wagner and Paolo, and we got something here. Unfortunately, I still don't think that puts you in the upper echelon of the East. I don't think that puts you over that top. Like they're making it sound like making this trade was and I quote you, it says blockbuster trade. And I'm thinking, huh? Whoa. No, this is I don't want to say this is a lateral move, but this is more of a move where you kind of really just fixed the need, and you really didn't like all the way go over and say, oh yeah, we're better than Cleveland now. We're better than Boston. We're better than the Knicks. We're better than the Pacers. I look at Orlando and still say, man, you're probably still at best with this trade the 5th team in the East at best.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it might be the difference between them being a play-in team and being a low seeding playoff team, like, which isn't nothing. But if you're gonna be giving up that many picks for it, then it better be more than that. And this kind of also makes me think about all of the KD trade and Giannis trade rumors that are going around, right? Trading a lot for one player, almost no matter who the player is very risky. Because one of the things that we talked about in a past episode was like the idea of the big three is dead. The idea of having just a core of great players and then just a bunch of bullshit around them because those 3 players are great doesn't work anymore. You need a full, well-rounded team. OKC is showing that right now. If you're going to give a lot for one player, I think more often than not, that's a mistake, specifically because of that, because depth is very important. If you're going to do it, honestly, I mean, like, I've even said, like, I'm a little skeptical of the Knicks going after Giannis because of how much we'd have to give for him. And it's one thing to do it for Giannis, though. It's another thing to do that for Desmond Bain.
Yeah. that, man. And so here are some of the benefits that I did write down that you are getting from Desmond Bain. Here's some of the benefits. He is going to affect their 3-point shooting immediately. So that's that. All right.
Yes.
He's also 26. All right.
Yes.
That's an advantage. You're getting a young guy. All right. Here's another advantage. He's built 6'5", 215. If anybody's seen pictures of Desmond Bain, he's built like a linebacker.
Yeah.
He's stocky. So opposing guards are going to have fits trying to guard him. So that helps you tremendously on that front. There's another benefit. Financially, he's under contract for the next 3 years. So if this is your core with him, Suggs, Wagner, and Paolo, this is your window. So now you got to do smart on what you put around him. Obviously, your 5th player who you're going to start with, and you got to build a bench. You got to. And it has to be a for real bench. If you're trying to make this conversation that you're acting like you're about to be of the elite talk of the East, you better build a bench. Don't get me wrong. I love the shooting of Desmond Bain, but I'm not looking for him as my primary scorer. I'm looking at Paolo, and I love Paolo. But right now, Paulo's been dealing with some injuries. this year. He had some injuries last year. I know he didn't miss it at the significant of time last year like he did this year, but still, there's been time missed in his short career. Now, I'm not talking of the Joel Embiid, Zion Williamson type of missing time, but there has been time missed. All right.
Yes.
So I'm just looking at Orlando. I'm saying, yeah, it's a risky move. It's a risky move. Now, if it works, your GM looks hella smart. But I want to look at this, Randy, real quick at the other end of this, Memphis side of this. All right. And I'm going to ask you some questions that I kind of really talked about last night. And I definitely want to get your opinion on this. Now that you see that Memphis is, moving pieces like this, you get 4 picks from this. I think there's another person that you probably should consider. I'm just saying consider. I don't say you do. But Ja Morant, I think you'd consider it. Where are you at on considering now that you moved Desmond Bane, you get 4 first-round picks for that? Do you consider at least taking calls? Or what you possibly can get for Ja Morant?
Taking calls, yes. I don't think Memphis is in a position, unless they get a really good offer, where they'd benefit from going into such a significant rebuild, because that's essentially what they would be doing, right? Like they made it into the playoffs this year. There were points where they were one of the better teams in the West throughout the year. I mean, I don't even know if they should have given up Desmond Bane, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So I think that if they were to be doing that, they'd essentially be forcing themselves into a rebuild. And I don't know. I would take the calls, but I don't really know if you would get enough to make it worth it, unless you thought that you were going to be building a core that was going to eventually lead you into being a top team with a handful of years. Really, if I was Memphis, I would have just kept building the team that I have. I wouldn't be looking to tear it apart. I think that you had, with Ja, Desmond Bane, and Triple J, that's a good core that you can add to. I didn't really see the need to get rid of Bane in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess that's just kind of where I'm at. Like, I would take the calls, but I can't imagine someone giving enough to make moving Ja worth it.
Yeah.
For a team that was, for periods of this season, one of the better teams in the West and did make the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. I just had to ask that question because I just think it's an interesting topic, because I could see a lot of do's and don'ts on why you should and shouldn't.
Why do you think they should? I want to hear the counter argument.
Well, damn it, if you get 4 picks for Desmond Bane, I should at least minimum get 8 for Ja.
True.
And you're talking about full rebuild, 12 first-round picks because it easily rebuild any situation right there. I heard you at the hospital, Core. We'll talk later. But when you talk about just the overall Ja's career, all right, I think he's a superstar.
Yeah,
he can sell tickets. All right, that's not the problem. He has a skill set. Is there some things in this game I wish he would improve on? I definitely think he should improve on his mid-range game. Rely on that a little bit more instead of throwing his body in the paint so much, because that's how you start knocking years off yourself. You keep throwing yourself in the paint.
Right. And threes also. And that's another thing with the Desmond Bane. Why I don't know if they should have moved off from Desmond Bane. Their 2 best players are not 3-point shooters.
Exactly.
Their spacing is now falling off of a cliff.
Yeah. Who are you getting your 3-point shooting from now? Because Josh's not a great 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm. He could improve, but at this moment he's not.
But that's going to have to be on him to work on that. And so if I'm looking at another reason why you do trade him is because I'm looking at the overall calculation of his time in Memphis. There's been some rocky moments. It needs to be some maturity. Maybe me personally, if I'm the front office of Memphis, be like, yeah, we love Ja, but we need some maturity, and we probably just won't get it. So hey, let's call a spade a spade. Let's call bygones. We'll send you somewhere, and we'll get compensation back. And it is what it is. It just didn't work, and we'll
Yeah. No, that's actually a good point. Also, like, do you do similarly to what the Mavs did with Luca, where it's like, look, we get it, you're a great player, but you're fat, and with them, it would be like, look, we get it, you're a great player, but you keep doing gun shit, like and you keep getting yourself suspended. So just like, yeah, you're a great player, but like, how consistently we're gonna have you if you won't just stop doing this?
That's another dude that I would say. I'm like, I love you, Ja, but between suspensions and injuries, my availability with you is such a question mark. Yeah, you're gonna sell my tickets, but damn it, are you gonna be able to be there to actually have the people enjoy it? And so it's kind of like it's a catch-22. You know.
Yeah, if they re-up him, then they really need to make that language really clear. Like, look, no gun shit, or we get all of our money back, and we get an open trade clause with you. Like, don't if he won't stop doing it, then it's on him at that point.
And some of the do's are also kind of similar to some of the don'ts. You don't trade him because he is a superstar. Mm-hmm. You know, he's going to put butts in your seat. He's going to be a person that people are going to work their ass off 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, to go make sure that their kid, who's a Ja Morant fan, goes see Ja Morant and play. They're gonna do that. All right. So that's why another reason why you don't. Here's another reason why you don't. You take those 4 first-round picks and you build around him in Triple J. You don't have to it's not a full rebuild, it's more of a reload.
Yes. I think that makes more sense. That's more or less what I'm getting at. You still have a really good core of 2 players now. You could have had a core of 3, but now you don't. You have the picks. Use that to build around Ja and Triple J. I agree. That's kind of where I'm at with the decisions.
Now, whatever the picks could probably mature in, either if you use them or actually, trade for value, because they are first round picks. So, more than likely you can, leverage those to probably get what you want, because they are first round. So
that's another thing. Yeah, you could flip those picks and use them to get someone else.
Yeah. And there has to be a team that's probably got a vet, probably 8-9 years in the league, or something. Just probably, money might not work out. Who knows? I mean, there's always vets floating around in the NBA that got some juice left, probably green chasing at this time. If you build the right formula, as in play style, obviously you see where Triple J, where he's going to be at on the court. You know where Ja's going to be at on the court. Find your spacing, and you work that in your actual business dealings on who you're going to add to that team, strategy wise. So that's when it comes for the coach and the GM to be buddy. They need to be married. They need to be in a happy marriage to make this thing work right now.
Who do you think, if they were to trade with, would make sense to give to Ja? Give Ja to? Who do you think would be the ones to pick him up?
They definitely need a shooter. Who's our shooters out in the league right now?
Shooters in, like, the best shooters in the NBA. Okay, I mean, are we talking about teams that don't have shooters right now, or are we talking about teams that do?
Well, right now Memphis ain't got no shooters. They need shooters.
No, I'm saying, like, who would Memphis trade to give Ja to in exchange? So okay, so you're saying, like, in order to get a shooter, like, give Ja to get shooters. That's what you're saying. Okay. Okay. Let's I'm trying to think, like, because it would have to be like a secondary shooter. Like, you probably aren't getting like an equivalent superstar. You'd get like a secondary shooter and then another player or some more picks or something, right? So very good secondary 3-point shooters.
I know I'm trying to pull up some stats real quick. So I can see who's been killing in the NBA. All right.
I mean, You would probably want to do it with a team that's also in like a rebuilding stage, maybe like Brooklyn. Try to maybe get like a Cam Thomas.
Believe it or not, some of your best 3-point shooters, here now that you bring it up, Jordan Poole will probably be available.
If I'm Memphis, I'm passing on taking Jordan Poole. No thanks.
I'm just saying of teams that like legitimately would give away that player.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe if you're Memphis, go after the Grayson Allen.
That's interesting. I think getting a Grayson Allen and the Suns definitely do have some players that they could give with him. Wait, he's on the Suns, right? Not the Bucks.
Yeah, he's on the Suns.
Suns right now. Okay. Yeah, so the Suns do have players that they could give with Grayson Allen to add to that. Maybe Grayson Allen, like two other bench pieces and a couple of picks for Ja. I mean, especially if they're losing KD, they do need another superstar.
If you're Memphis, maybe you call about Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, that's another one that I do think works. Get Michael Porter Jr. I'm trying to think someone else off of the Nuggets bench. Couple of picks. Who would do you think you'd get with him? Like maybe Russ?
Well, what I've been hearing from Russ, he's declining an option, so he might not even be able to even be considered in none of these trade dilemmas. So
right, okay.
I'm also looking at maybe you go after Josh Green in Charlotte. They're not doing nothing.
Yeah.
He wasn't too bad at 3-point shooting. So I mean, it's if I do a deep dive and actually look at certain players, I don't know if you go after Tyler Hero, and I don't know if Miami would give him up.
For Ja Morant, I think they probably would.
No. Oh well, no, you give up a lot for Ja Morant, but
you get Tyler Hero, couple of bench players, some picks, right? Like if the Heat were to get Ja Morant with Bam Adebayo, like they're in a comparable position to where they were the past couple of years, right?
Easy. Ja in Miami. Now, I will say this. I know a lot of people say, oh, you put Ja in Miami, he would wild out. That organization,
no,
it's about their business.
Not with Spoelstra.
Not with Spo, and not with Riley and up at the top of the hill sitting there neither. They not about that bull.
Yeah, they ain't gonna let him get away with nothing.
You talking about maturation process, maturity? Send Ja to Miami, and I shit you not, all that gun shit. Ain't a problem no more.
Yeah, he ain't gonna do that Miami cop shit over there. Like, absolutely not. That 911 shit. He ain't pulling guns out like that. They're gonna keep him in check, and he's gonna be better for it, right? Like they're gonna keep him focused on basketball.
He unlocked it everything.
That's a coaching staff that will absolutely get the most out of him, and I think that's a really good point with him. Is like he comes with some baggage. You got to put him in the right system to get it out of him.
Right situations matter. Organizations do matter.
Yes.
Do we know if we got Kobe, if he was still in Charlotte, they didn't make that trade? You know what I'm saying? Like, do we know? Do we get do we get the Warrior situation without certain organization pieces getting put together? like Mark Jackson getting transferred to Steve Kerr.
Yeah,
Do we get that Warriors dynasty?
right. You know, we don't know. Yeah, that's true. The coaching staff, the vision for them, the way that they organize their players matters a ton.
I think that'd be a good spot for both parties right there.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm trying to think of any other place that would actually make sense to Ja to get traded to.
I mean, the Spurs are always an interesting option, right? Like I always love the Spurs getting anybody because they're just such a perfect team to bring in people to build with, right? Like their star is a rookie or on a rookie deal, and
yeah,
they're going to be the next upcoming empire for sure. I'm just hoping to see it.
You would have to put De'Aaron Fox in that deal.
Yeah, and it's at that point I don't know if it's worth it, right? Because De'Aaron Fox plus pieces, like you're already limited on pieces.
I love D Fox game, man.
Yeah, I like D Fox too. And then again, also like that's a downgrade in shooting from giving up Fox and getting Ja. And then plus pieces on top of it, like yeah, then you're kind of going backwards. So yeah, maybe that would be an issue there.
Now, Randy, what I'm about to say, it ain't the week. I think, I just think John Morant is a superstar. I just love De'Aaron Fox's game. I would draft D Fox over John Morant. It sounds crazy, but I just when it comes to the shooting, when it comes to just the overall mentality, I know D Fox had some injuries this past year, but that was probably like the first time he's ever had like durability problems. He's going to be available, all right, more times than not. But I love D Fox's game. He just didn't get that same star publicity like Ja. I mean, he was stuck in Sacramento. Now he's in San Antonio, two small market teams, and just doesn't have that star quality buzz like a John Morant does.
Yeah,
Ja Morant is a star in a small market team.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like Memphis is also a small market team, but Ja had star power that he brought to the team, right? Like nobody was paying attention to Memphis before he was there. So yeah, no, I mean that's true, and I don't hate that take. You are getting a little more offensive variety with Fox. I think that he is a better shooter. I think that he's probably a better facilitator. I mean, he's not going to do like the crazy flashy dunks, but I don't know if you necessarily need that as much as you need spacing.
Yeah, that's why he fits the Spurs organization perfect. D Fox does.
Yeah, and on top of that, also he's not gonna get himself thrown off of the court like 3 times in the past few years.
Yeah, interesting conversations, but hey, I'm not gonna hold you up, my brother, man. I always appreciate your time that you give every week. So, 13 minutes overtime, it's all good, but. As always, y'all know where to find Randy Panther on Acid on Instagram for all your audio needs. Y'all know where to find me. Twitter, KC Wildcard Mar, and of course, hey man, tap in with I.O.W Sports, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification, let you know every time we go live, and of course, every Tuesday with the man that has passed the bar. I know I'm gonna brag about it for at least another couple of months, so. Until you get sick of it, and then you just tell me like, "Hey, bro, all right, chill."
I don't see myself getting sick of it. I really don't. Yeah, no, but appreciate the love and support, of course, always.
So, hey, man, it's been real. I'm gonna come back tomorrow night with last episode of the week. I only try to give y'all Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I got a life, so. Yeah. Hey, always big congrats. Hey,
thanks, Ballin' Buds. Of course.
Make sure y'all tap in Ballin' Buds Sports Entertainment. My man Omar, Clever D. They break down all the boxing, all the UFC, all the combat sports. They even talk wrestling. Sometimes they even had me on there talking some wrestling. So if you love combat sports, tap in with Ballin' Buds. All right. Make sure y'all do that. Hey man, we're gonna get up out of here. Y'all know what it is. Hey, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Hey, man, peace and love. We'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Take care.
Peace.
Yeah. Silent Hill TDS, what's up? Yeah, come on. I.O.W. Sports Network, late night edition. Let's go. Come on.
We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Como de lo cigar. Man, you don't wanna